In this video, we're going to talk about how to create compliant ads that convert and that are profitable ads that don't get shut down. And so over the last 6 months, well, I mean, really since Facebook released the Facebook ad platform, Facebook has been increasingly tightening their restrictions on what is and is not allowed from an ad copy and ad creative perspective to protect the user experience. And so what that means is that back even as few as 6 months ago, the restrictions on what was allowed in a Facebook advertisement was pretty loose. You could get away with saying, frankly, some pretty ridiculous things and be perfectly fine from a Facebook ad compliance standpoint. That has changed. Facebook has become much more strict in their interpretation of their advertising policies. And as a result, depending on your industry, depending on how aggressive your ad copy is, you can run into issues where your ads will be shut down and basically they'll ask you to rewrite or recreate your ad. And obviously that's not an ideal scenario, both from an ROI standpoint. If you're not able to run ads, you're not able to generate new customers. But if your account receives too many manual reviews and gets too many ads shut down, at a certain point, Facebook's just going to say, you know what, you're done, and just shut down your account permanently. And once that happens, it is virtually impossible to actually get your account reinstated unless you have some sort of inside connection with someone in Facebook. And so the purpose of this video is to show you, go over some rules of thumb around ad compliance, walk you through the actual Facebook ad review and compliance review process that you understand that, and then show you how to create ads that are still massively effective, massively profitable, but don't get your account shut down and don't get your advertising shut down. And so the very first thing that is an absolute necessity today as a Facebook advertiser to do is to go in and actually read through the Facebook advertising policies at facebook.com/policies/ads. I know this is not exciting reading. This is not necessarily enjoyable, but it is an absolute necessity for you to understand what these policies are, because if you don't understand what these policies are, your clients certainly are not. And if you don't understand these policies and if you end up violating these policies on your client's account, your clients are going to be the ones who pay the price. You're going to get bad feedback, you're going to get a bad reputation, and it's going to be bad for business. So read through these policies. This is what the policy page looks like. Again, it's not massively long. Maybe take you a half hour or so to read through, and you just need to do it. If you're not willing to take the time to do it, you're going to run into issues down the road. But we can just take some time and skim through some of this. So there are prohibited content and restricted content. Prohibited content is content that is just not allowed whatsoever under any circumstances. And restricted content is content that will most likely be flagged and put under scrutiny by an actual live person at Facebook before your ad is approved. So you need to be very careful when advertising anything in this restricted content area, because they're going to really, they're not going to let you toe the line. They're going to make sure you are well within their terms of service before they approve your ad. So prohibited content, obviously you can't advertise any illegal products or services. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can't use any discriminatory practices in your ads. You can't encourage discrimination. Really just staying away from, in your advertisement, it's best to stay away from any areas of race, sex, gender, anything like that. Just stay away from those in general. Can't advertise tobacco, can't advertise drugs. You cannot advertise unsafe supplements, and as they say, this is determined by Facebook in its sole discretion. So if you're advertising some supplement that a Facebook rep decides is not safe, they can shut you down, and that is within their right to do so. You cannot promote the sale or use of weapons. Can't promote the sale, let's see here. Yeah, you can't promote the sale for adult products or services except for family planning and contraceptives. You have to target people 18 and older for those. Can't promote adult content, so no porn. You can't promote content that violates any sort of copyright or trademark laws. Can't promote sensational content, so no clickbait essentially. Nothing super violent, nothing disrespectful. You can't intentionally go out of your way to make people scared or piss them off or whatever the case may be. And this is key here. You cannot contain content that asserts or implies personal attributes. So you can't say things like, are you a woman? You can't say things like, are you a Christian, or are you a Jew, or are you a Muslim? You can't say things like, are you overweight? You can't say things like, did you lose your job? Anything that implies a personal attribute that is like speaking directly one-on-one to someone, you cannot do that. It's the quickest way to get flagged. You can't use misleading or false content. Again, no clickbait. Be transparent. Facebook has really cracked down on clickbait and fake news and all that. So just be really transparent. So for example, you can't put in your ad, click here for a free car, and then send people to the sales page for a book, for example. That would get you banned in a hurry. Controversial content, again, you can't be exploitative. You have to have a landing page that works. You can't promote surveillance equipment, and you need to use decent grammar, and you can't use swear words. Non-existent functionality. So I've actually run into this a few times. I had like an image that I took as a screenshot of a video, and in the screenshot there was like the little play, the little triangle, the little play icon that was in the screenshot, and that got my ad actually shut down because it made it look like it was a video, but it wasn't actually a video. So you can't make your ad look like it's a video and actually make it an image with the intent of people will click on it to try and get it to play. You can't do that because that's tricking people. Yeah, you can't use before and after images around personal health or makeup or anything like that. That's a no-no. Can't advertise payday loans. Can't advertise multi-level marketing. Or penny auction. You can read through this. This is all the stuff that is that's just prohibited, and obviously you can't try and trick the system. That's a great way to get shut down permanently. Now, restricted content. This is content that is allowed, but it is highly regulated and highly scrutinized, and so you just have to be careful here, which is why it's so important to really read into all of these different policies so that you're aware, up to date, you know where the line is and you don't cross it. So alcohol, you have to be very careful with that. Dating, again, you have to be incredibly careful with dating services. You have to fill out a form. This is tough. Real money gambling, again, have to be careful with that. Make sure you're targeting appropriate people only. Yeah, if you're, this probably won't apply to anyone. State lotteries, online pharmacies. Again, you need written permission to promote pharmaceuticals. Supplements, you can only target people 18 years of age or older. Subscription services, you have to be careful around that. Basically, Facebook has the authority to decide that your subscription service doesn't meet their requirements and can shut you down. Financial services, again, you have to be careful here. You have to be very transparent, ensure that all of your financial terms and everything else are disclosed and visible. And you have to be really careful with your copy because, again, you can't call out anyone's specific financial situation. And so your copy has to be sort of very generic in that sense. Branded content, obviously, you can only use someone else's branded content if they give you permission to do that. Student loans, yeah, you got to be careful with those. And political ads, obviously, Facebook is very cautious about political ads nowadays after Russia ruined them. So if you're running political ads, expect to come under some scrutiny there. But other than that shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, this is just an example of the Facebook advertising policies. Again, it's just a requirement to play in this game. You need to read through all of this and understand all of it, because at the end of the day, not understanding this is not an excuse, and you're accountable for the results that you get for yourself and your clients. So read this. You need to do it. And if you're not willing to invest the time to read through and understand those policies, you're going to run into issues down the road. It's that simple. So how does the ad review process actually work? So let's draw it out. So the ad review process is, again, Facebook's way to ensure that the ads that are pushed live are maintaining a minimum standard of quality. And so the ad review process looks like this. So you create your ad. Let me see here. You create your ad. And at that point, basically, Facebook has a decision. And so the Facebook ad review process is a hybrid artificial intelligence and like algorithm, as well as it's actually someone, most likely an intern, sitting and checking all of these ads manually that the artificial intelligence flags as being at risk. And so basically, once you submit your ad for review, your ad is run through the Facebook algorithm, and then it spits out a decision. You're either good to go, so you're green, or you're red, and that flags your ad for manual review. And this process right here, there's a number of factors that come into play during this decision. Your prior account history. So if your account has a long history of getting all of its ads approved, then most likely your ads are probably going to be instantly approved right off the bat, and they'll go live. If your account has a long history of shutting down ads, then most likely all of your ads are going to be flagged as needing a manual review, and you're going to go into the manual review phase. And so during this manual review phase, some poor intern at Facebook actually looks at every single one of these ads about, 30 to 40 per minute, and actually determines whether or not your ad is compliant or not, and it is pretty much based purely on their discretion. And so obviously, rule number one, don't mess with the Facebook ad policies. Follow the policies and you'll be fine. If you try and toe the line, you're going to lose in the long run. But obviously, it's better to stay out of this manual review process, simply because the fate of your ad is often just dependent on this one poor intern. And so it's always better to just stay above the line and get your ads automatically approved. So it's always better to just not mess with the policies, create ad copy that is within the policies, and get your ad automatically approved. But if your ad is flagged for manual review, Joe here will look at your ads, and then he will either give you the green light or he will decline it, in which case you're back to the drawing board and you just need to edit your ad, figure out what's wrong, and edit your ad accordingly, and then it'll go back through this process again. Now, even if let me back up. So the very first ad that you launch, if you have a brand new account, it's almost always going to go through a manual process. There's no way around it. Even if, though, your ad is automatically approved, as you scale your ad spend up to past $200 a day, sometimes it's 500, sometimes it's 100, but it's around $200 per day, your ad is going to be flagged for manual review, just because at that point Facebook's like, okay, a lot of people are seeing this ad, we need to take a look and make sure that the manual, like this ad, truly does follow policies. And so again, this Joe, the intern, will take a look at your ad, and in most cases you're going to be fine, unless you're towing the line with policies, then there's a chance it will get shut down. Now, what does Joe, the intern, look for in a manual review? Well, he looks for your copy, make sure that that's compliant. He looks at your creative, make sure that's compliant, and he looks at your landing page. This is what a lot of people don't realize, but he looks at your landing page. And so your landing page also needs to follow the Facebook advertising policies, because if it doesn't, your ad is going to be disapproved. Now, if your ad is disapproved, then, so let's say your ad's disapproved here, what you can do is you can actually appeal it. If you take a look at your ad and you're like, there's nothing wrong with this ad, this follows policies, you can appeal it. There's a little button in Facebook that says, click here to appeal the ad. You can appeal it. You can write a little note that says why you think this should be appealed, and then that kicks it back to someone else on the Facebook team, and then they give you a final verdict. And this does happen often, where an ad is just disapproved for no apparent reason. I recently, just a couple weeks ago, had an account had all of the ads disapproved overnight because apparently Facebook thought that they were selling firearms. and was nowhere near the weapons space or the firearms space. And so I put in an appeal instantly, and I'm like, hey, I think this is probably an algorithm error or something, but nowhere on any of our websites, property, marketing, anything, do we have anything related to guns, weapons of any type. And within, I think within a couple hours, they got back to me and they're like, yeah, our apologies, you're live, you're good to go now. So this appeal process does happen. Appealing is a very effective way to get manual reviews overturned, again, assuming that you're compliant with the Facebook advertising policies. So at a high level, this is how that process all works. And so like I mentioned, ads can either be automatically approved or flagged for the review by the Facebook algorithm. The algorithm looks for trigger words and phrases in your ad and landing page, and if enough trigger words are found, then it flags your ad for manual review. And obviously, like I mentioned, manual review is when a Facebook employee manually looks at your ad and determines whether or not to approve it based on their mood, the phase of the moon, and the day of the week. If you have a brand new account and are launching an ad for the first time, your first few ads are almost certainly going to be manually reviewed just because Facebook doesn't know anything about you. You don't have any past advertising history. And yeah, like I mentioned, if you have a positive ad history, your new ads are likely to be auto approved. However, as you scale, again, once you get past this like $200 per day point, your ads are going to be flagged for manual review. There's no way around that. So a few general rules of thumb to make sure that you're staying compliant with your ads. Obviously, no clickbait headlines. Everyone hates clickbait. Facebook cares about the user experience, so no, he went into the bank and you won't believe what happened next. No, like go to Yahoo News, essentially, or just go to Yahoo and look at any of those clickbait headlines. Don't make your headlines sound like those. They're going to get disproved. No misleading headlines or text. So if you tell someone to click here to sign up for a free training, there better be a free training on that landing page. If you tell someone to click here to get something for free, you better not be selling them that thing that they got for free on the landing page. So be very transparent, set expectations, and don't be misleading. No calling out specific health conditions. We covered that. So you certainly can't say things like have back pain or back pain sufferer, or, are you overweight? You can't do anything like that. There's no specifically addressing the reader. In other words, using the word you in your copy tends to get your ad disapproved. Now, this is sort of hit or miss because I do have ads where I use the word you just because it's difficult to make it the ad make sense without it, and they do get approved. But then I've had other ads where any instance of the word you in the copy gets the ad disapproved. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, let's say I'm advertising Facebook ads for agency owners to marketers. I could start off, and we'll get into some of these copy formulas in a later video, but I could start off the ad by saying, are you a marketer? And because I call out the word you like this ad is probably going to get flagged, and there's a high probability that it will be declined. So instead of saying, are you a marketer, you say something that still addresses that reader, but doesn't require the use of the word you. So you could say something like, marketing is hard, isn't it? Marketing hard. Right? See the difference there? So I'm kind of saying the same thing. I'm saying, are you a marketer, or marketing is hard, right? I'm kind of saying the same thing, but I'm not using the word you. I'm not specifically calling out the reader in this second sentence. And so this second sentence would be within the Facebook advertising policies. And then obviously you can't use trigger words. Like, there's no official list of Facebook trigger words for obvious reasons, but I mean, you just can't use anything spammy, right? So no get rich quick, no using the words get rich quick, no using the words business opportunity. If you use the words make money online, your ad will almost certainly be flagged for review. Lose belly fat in a certain amount of time, like that's just violating all sorts of policies. And so basically, if you're using ad copy that sounds spammy or unbelievable, or using phrases that is typically used in industries by people who rip other people off, your ad is almost certainly going to be flagged for a manual review, and then you're going to have a live person take a look at your ad and determine whether or not you're compliant. So just don't use trigger words. Stay away from phrases like that. And then obviously, don't make any income or results claims. So don't make any claims what other people can do. So something like how to earn $1,000 in 14 days will almost certainly not be approved. You could say how I earned $1,000 in 14 days, but you cannot say how to earn $1,000 in 14 days because that is making a results promise, which by definition just like is almost never true. So you can get around that by using case studies and saying how I did this or how this person did this, but you can't make a direct income or results claim. So you can't say how to lose 14 pounds of belly fat in X number of days. You could say how I lost 14 pounds in X number of days, but you can't make a direct claim. And so this is just the purpose of this video is just to give you a solid overview of how to create ads that won't get declined. Again, the best way is to just go back to the advertising policies and reviewing all of these. You need to be accountable for these policies. And as long as you stay within these guidelines, you're not really going to have an issue. Just don't toe the line. Don't try and work around the system. Don't try and trick the system because you will lose in the long run. Facebook is much smarter than you. Their algorithms are much more efficient than you. You're not going to be able to win. Don't try and make shortcuts. We're building a business that adds value for the long haul, and that means that we follow the Facebook advertising policies. I'll see you in the next video.